Breaking now, jurors on Ryan Widmer's retrial signal for the judge.
Today makes 3.5 days of deliberating and still no verdict. Deb Silverman covers Butler and Warren County News live at the courthouse right now. Deb, what's the latest?
Well, the latest is that this jury cannot come to an agreement, and it is a hung jury. There's a photographer inside the courtroom right now. This just happened about 1 minute ago. He called me on the phone and actually held his phone up to the microphone so that I could hear everything the judge was saying. The judge thanked the jurors for trying to come to a decision, and he dismissed them. He said, at this point, thank you for trying to come to an agreement on this, and now they're free to go home. They are free to discuss the case. You know, they haven't been allowed to talk about this case for 3 weeks now during this whole trial and then during the deliberations. So exactly what this means at this point, I do know that it's up to the prosecutor now to decide, does she want this case to be tried a third time? Now, you know that this was Ryan Widmer's second trial. The first trial, that verdict of guilty was thrown out because of juror misconduct. Obviously, when Ryan Widmer came into court today, he and his family, they were all hoping to get a final decision here today that he would be not guilty, but clearly this jury could not come to an agreement. And I was thinking I might be getting another phone call here from the courtroom, but that is not from the courtroom. So at this point, it's up to prosecutors to decide if they want to try this case again. Now, the defense does plan on filing a motion to have the judge acquit Ryan Widmer. And if the judge decides to acquit him, well, then they cannot do another trial down the road. But that's something that would be up to the judge. And the judge, there's no time limit, I'm told, on when the judge would have to make a decision if he would want to acquit Ryan Widmer. Obviously, I'm sure that there is a lot of emotion going on inside that courtroom right now. On Friday, when the jury had been deadlocked, Ryan's family's inside there. They were really tearing up, very upset. And I think it looks like some people might be here. They're coming out of the courtroom right now. I don't know, Jason Garrison, if you're able to zoom in over there. Ryan Widmer's leaving with his father there. And his attorneys are not coming out at this point. They're coming out right now.
They could set another trial date. They could do any number of things. Hopefully, right up here.
And obviously people are trying to ask the family some questions. Ryan has gone. He's stepping over right here.
Mr. Widmer, how about you? Can you guys do this again?
Obviously walking out here of the courtroom, wiping his eyes, obviously very overwhelmed with emotion right now, because if the prosecutors decide not to try him again, that would actually mean that any time in the future, you know, say 20 years down the road, prosecutors at that point could say, hey, we want to bring this case back to trial. So really he'd have this burden for the rest of his life, knowing that there's a hung jury and the possibility of going back to court. Obviously, a lot of questions about what happens now. In my career and all of the trials that I have covered, I have never covered a case where it's a hung jury and that the jurors couldn't come to an agreement. So obviously a lot of questions. We definitely want to talk to some of these jurors to see what was going on during those deliberations and how the jury was divided. We do not know how this jury was divided. Was it 6 and 6? Was it one person who had the whole thing hung up? So obviously a lot developing right now, and I'll get you some of the answers to those questions coming up as soon as possible. Carol, Clyde.
All right, Deb, I know you want to get into the thick of things and talk to people right quick. Do you get a sense of ahead of time whether the prosecution wants to go back at this again?
Do you know, both sides have not been talking about the case at all because there has been a gag order. And so now I'm sure right now that's something that people might be asking the prosecutor inside the courthouse. But really, we do not know. Let me ask one question. Terry, did they say anything about a retrial, a third trial? No. So at this point, we still don't know what prosecutors are thinking. Clyde?
All right. Okay. Deb Silverman reporting live for us in Lebanon, continuing her complete coverage of the Ryan Widmer retrial, which apparently is now over because of a hung jury.
An amazing story, and more to come, too. More break.